Hey guys, Clementine here, and a lot of people have been asking me how they can get more control in their worlds, and so I'm going to talk about that today. Look, control is really misunderstood. What most people think it is they know exactly what's going to happen and they know exactly what they're going to do to make it happen. That's not control. It's not the over planning, all the structures, the manipulating, the micromanaging, the definitions, the judgments, the compliance. That's something different. That's not true control. That is something that'll make you crazy. Trying to take all the variables of an infinite universe and try to force it to comply with however you've envisioned things to go. That doesn't even make any sense, but yet a lot of us do that. And so if you do that, don't be hard on yourself. But let's just look at what control really is and how you can actually use it in a way that's going to make you feel so much better and have so much more ease. So one great example is parenting. You can't control your kids in the way that we think you control your kids. You know, people make routines and they have their rules and they have the ways that they think they would like their kids to behave. But the truth is, kids are going to be kids. They're so much more than, whatever you've defined them as. They come in with all their personality and all their likes and dislikes and all their playfulness and all of their, their emotions and all of that stuff. There's no way to anybody who's ever been a parent or spent any time around any little kids knows there's no way to decide exactly how you're getting from A to B with a small child and that the kid's going to comply. It's not ever going to look like you think. So, okay. Let's talk about when you first learn to drive. This is a great analogy. So when you first learn to drive, the tendency is to clench the steering wheel really hard and to look right over the edge of the front of the car and to try to get yourself between the lines, right? Overcompensating, back, forth, really tight, really constricted, and very narrow scope of vision. Where we learn right away, in order to have better management of the car and better control of the car, you got to look off in the distance. You got to look down the road. And what happens when you do that? Well, first of all, you don't have to clench so hard. You relax. Secondly, you become aware of the whole periphery and a much bigger picture, which allows you to see all the traffic, you see the condition of the road ahead, you see road signs, pedestrians, whatever might be there. And in that bigger picture, you now have fuller awareness of what's actually transpiring while you drive. So when you are present and when you are aware, it's not only safer, but you have more control over how you're going to respond. You are more available to listen to the car. What's the car doing? To, go around that pothole. Somebody pulls out in front of you. If you're driving like this, you might be in trouble because there's not a lot, when you're that tense and that tight, you're not even really looking up, it's dangerous. So using that analogy of big picture, relaxed presence and awareness, it starts to give you some clues into how you can actually have control in your life. Let's think of another example, like a sports coach, let's say a basketball coach. Now, coaches, of course, are knowledgeable about the game. They know the rules, they know plays, they know their players, they know lots of things, of course. But there is no way that they can script out a whole game and say, here guys, do exactly this, and it's ever going to work. It doesn't happen that way. There are far too many things going on in the court. Of course, the other team, whatever they bring, and the players themselves have good days and bad days, or whatever that actually means. They play differently at different times. We don't know what's happened in their life that day, how their body's feeling. Maybe there's some weird dynamic with one of the players on the other team that's bringing something out of them. There's just so much going on. So a quality coach, a successful coach, is one who takes it all in and has the information that they have, but also has the awareness to adapt to look at what's going to work, what's going to create the most effective game for their team. When you are navigating through your life that way, where you're willing to step back and look from a bigger space, relax, for one. I mean, first of all, relaxing just feels a ton better. Your body likes it better. The people around you like it better. And I promise you, you're going to be getting more done when you relax. Think about if you're ever in a hurry. If you're rushing, pushing, what happens? I mean, you break things, you trip on something, you drop something. I mean, it's just like, it very infrequently does pushing in a rush ever make things better, especially if you're trying to get other people to rush. That's just a great way to create tension, and it really doesn't usually work. Versus if you go, well, okay, I'm running late, but I'm just going to stay clear, and I'm just going to do what I got to do, and I'll get out the door. No big deal. It lets you enjoy the drive. It lets you, enjoy the process versus all that tension and intensity that's just magnetizing more stress into your world. So if you, in a weird, twisted way, or not twisted, but, kind of an interesting way, that is in a sense a way of exercising control against your most optimal way of functioning. In other words, you are defining in a way, you are, let's say, not quite defining, but setting the tone, the energetic tone of an experience. If you decide to tense up and stress out, you are creating a field of stress. And so you are, in a sense, controlling your reality by feeding it stress, which is interesting. So that's I don't want to say ineffective, it's a choice. It's probably not your most fun choice, where you could choose to relax, to notice, oh, the traffic's really heavy here. Do I need to take a different route? Would music relax me? Do I need to call somebody and let them know I'm running late? In other words, it gives you the space to be aware of what needs to happen to make the moment work, the day work, the situation work. So that is actual control. Let's see. A lot of people think about control in terms of really specific things, like they don't like their boss and they feel like they always have to do what they say, or there's problems at work, or they're having problems with their partner, or they just don't feel like they have control over their finances or whatever. The biggest component with all that is to recognize you have choice. So did you choose that job? Do you have choice how you respond on a day-to-day basis? Do you have the choice to look for other jobs? I know a lot of people like to backfill the story of how, they're stuck or there's problems or whatever, but you got to get honest with yourself. Do you actually have far more space to choose than you're acknowledging? That's a one way to really give yourself a greater sense of control. When you realize you're choosing that job versus have to. You've chosen to be in relationship with this person. You've chosen whether or not you're going to, argue over this thing or compensate for that thing or compromise in this way. These are all choices, and you have a lot more control over what you're going to choose than you've been acknowledging. And you also have the capacity to be aware of what your choices will create. And if you're saying to yourself right now that you are refusing to be empowered in the way you could choose. You're refusing the control you could have, because you have there's far more control available to you. Let's think about, like, if you've ever been in a crowd and somebody walks in and they're really like grumpy, angry, and it affects everybody. You can see everybody kind of tense up and tighten up. What can you choose there? Well, you might see somebody, hey man, chill out. Does that usually work? Does anybody who's angry really want to be told to stop being angry? You might see people tense up or avoid this person. What does avoidance do for you? If you're somebody who tends to avoid, what does the energy of avoidance do? It contracts you. It makes your world smaller. You're now letting that be the dominant energy in the room. Their anger is now taken over the experience, and you'll just be over here in the corner. I mean, that's a choice, and I'm not saying that's wrong. But what if same principles apply? You relax, you expand out to big picture, you be totally present and aware of everything that's transpiring, and what can you choose to make a change. Now, I'm not talking about defined ways to deal with someone who's angry or defined anything, judgment, anything. I'm talking about true awareness is what is going to work here. Does this person need to hear something? Does this person just need to be told it's okay? Does this, do the people around need to be invited to redirect their attention? I don't know. They're in this fictitious situation. You're going to know some of the people or some of the dynamics going on in any kind of situation like that, and you're going to have awareness of what's possible. That is what true control really is all about. So in your life, as you look around at everything in your life, wherever it is that you're feeling like you don't have enough control, first, what choices do you have available that you've never acknowledged? Are you constricting and contracting, and can you reverse the flow? Relax, expand out, allow your awareness to be exponentially more spacious. Be truly present with all the elements versus honing in on the piece where you think you don't have control. Be present with the whole big picture and be aware of, okay, what is this? Where can I go with it? What can I do with it? What else can I choose? Am I choosing to think I'm stuck? What if I'm not? Am I choosing to think I have to do this? Do I really? Do I have a choice? What control do I actually have that I'm not acknowledging? Control does not mean dominating others, does not mean, it can mean being manipulative. Manipulative doesn't have to be a mean thing. I manipulated my 3-year-old when she was 3 to say all the words I wanted to hear to give her what she wanted. I taught her deliberately, here's how you manipulate me. So manipulation can be a kindness, but it's not about taking away the agency of anyone else. That is being a dictator and an asshole. That's not exercising the true power that you innately have as a being of this multiverse. And that's what I'm talking about. You have so much more power than you've ever acknowledged. So begin playing with it. Relax. I know I've said that like 800 times. Expand. Be present. Play with your awareness. What is here for you? What can you choose? I hope that's helpful. I'm happy to keep this conversation going. Write some comments, ask questions. I'll make follow-up videos if there's specific questions. And what can you do with your life today? That's going to be a whole lot more fun for you. We'll see you next time.